What's up, vlog? I'm back. So I have to admit, I've been struggling with this concept of documenting versus creating. I tried to go the path of creating at first, but I ended up writing 5 pages, right? 5 pages. Then I had to go back through it and edit it. Then I had to go through, and it was gonna be audio with actual real footage. So I was gonna have to slice and dice and create this entire video. So if you're trying to run a business and your business is not being an influencer, you've got a lot to think about. From deep in my soul. All right, so I really want to talk about the book by Jeff Goins called The Art of Work. Jeff Goins went on to write this book in 2015, and it really resonated with me because this was at the time where I was trying to figure out what I was going to do with my life, because after college, I spent all of my time reading any book I could get my hands on. And you can actually see that list on my website under books if you want to see all the books that I've read to get to where I am now. And I'm still reading consistently to this day. But the book talks about finding your vocation by looking at your passions, then connecting those to the needs of the world. And by doing that, you can build a legacy and in essence, change the world. And even if you don't change the world, you're doing something that's bigger than yourself. One of the key quotes that I took out of the book, when he said something like, it's not that you should do something good, it's that you should become someone good. And I've been consistently trying to figure out what that means. So every day that I live my life, literally, no joke, every single day, I live it to try and better myself by continuously doing the things that I'm already doing, and by finding little ways to enhance my life or learn something or figuring out how to help other people. And it can go from anything from just practicing the piano each day and getting good at that, or by reading or having good conversations. There's a long list of what those things look like, but it's not so much, okay, you've built a business. It's not so much, you made this product. It's really, you need to be a better person. And I truly believe in the notion that you should lead by example. Now back to the book, The Art of Work by Jeff Goins. There's 2 sets of principles that I took out of the book that I think are really going to help you. And the first one, there's 3 things he talks about. So the first is that you need to obviously find a passion. So what that comes down to is listing out all the events that you could potentially be passionate about. Just list them out, every single one of them, and dig through to try and figure out, okay, I'm passionate about riding horses, or I'm passionate about fiction, or I'm passionate about whatever it might be. But to the point that you may hear on Instagram a lot is that you need to go try them. You need to see what sticks, what you like, what you don't like. For instance, you may say to yourself, I love baking cakes. I would really love to have a bakery. And I always use this example because it makes the most sense. You might love baking cakes, but if you start a bakery, you're not baking cakes. You are probably doing the accounting, the marketing, making sure you have it looking nice inside. So you're doing, what is that called? Fashion or interior decorating. That's what that's called. So you're doing all these things that aren't necessarily baking. And if you want to grow, you got to run a business. You can't spend your time making all of the desserts or cakes and cupcakes. So you need to figure out, okay, what's my passion first of all, and then see what that looks like by trying those things out. The second thing that Jeff Goins talks about is that no one is self-made. Warren Buffett, he had a mentor, and Benjamin Graham. Jeff Bezos, he read a lot, like I do. Not saying I'm Jeff Bezos, but I'm just saying that's why I read so much, because you may not have access to those mentors. So Jeff Bezos, he read a ton of biographies and learned from them. And I completely get that, and it does work. Justin Bieber, he had a vocal coach. Donald Trump, he had a mentor, not only his father, but there was a lawyer, I forget his name, that he also looked up to when he was in Manhattan. So finding a mentor or figuring out what those steps are that you can follow in someone's footsteps, it makes life so much easier. The third thing Jeff Goins talks about is that you should live a portfolio life. Now, he made this term up, but it means you should not be defined by one thing. So you aren't the job that you work. What he's saying is that to live a fulfilled life, you can't just be defined by one single thing. In this case of the book, he means specifically work, but I'm taking it a step further that it should be all-encompassing. It's the same way I like to use the difference between rich and wealthy. Someone that's rich has just a lot of money, but they might have poor health, they might have poor relationships, they might have an extremely dirty, disgusting home. It could be a long laundry list of things, but just having money doesn't make you wealthy. Wealthy would be you have rich relationships, you have money, obviously, but you experience life. You are spiritually there. You have a great family balance. So that to me is wealthy versus rich, whereas living a portfolio life is more of you're not just a workaholic, but you work a lot and have a great work life. You also have a great family life. You're a great father. You also go to church. You're a great Christian and you practice what you read and what your beliefs are. You work out, so you're healthy. This is what he's getting at by saying you need to be defined by more than one thing, so live a portfolio life. And then to the other models that I took away out of the book, it was 3 other things. But his 3 descriptors for what gives work meaning, number 1 was that it needs to be a passion. Number 2 was that you should have a significant relationship. So with what you're doing, there should be some type of relationship there. Like for instance, if you're into science or chemistry or anything in the medical field, those things, it needs to tie to you wanting to solve problems for the environment. You wanting to find a cure because, your grandmother passed away from cancer, or, working with children because you identified with that was how you grew up. So building a relationship between what the work is that you're doing and obviously it being a passion. So you need a significant relationship for work to have meaning. The third thing is you need to have a redemptive view of suffering. What he means by that is that you should embrace the pain and not avoid it, because things should be difficult. And you hear this all the time, that if it's painful, then you should embrace that suffering. And that goes for nearly anything if you look at it. Civil rights is a great example. Being a Christian is a great example. Actually, almost any religion, in some cases, depending on where you live. Work, building a business, it is not easy. I've been doing it all day, and it's 10 p.m. at night right now. And I've been working since about 9 this morning. Yeah, it's painful, but you need to embrace your work and what you're doing. I'm not saying you need to work all day. What I'm saying is that anything worth having is worth going through the struggles. And to do that, and for it to have meaning, it has to be something that you're passionate about. And that's what he's getting at from these 2 different models he talks about. But, once you set your mind to something, your dreams can come true if it's something you're passionate about, because you stick to it. And no matter what happens, it's not going to stop you. You are able to build a legacy that's bigger than yourself. And it comes down to those models. So I really hope that you can take those same things, implement them into your life, and figuring out what your passions are and how you can live a fulfilled life, not by just being a workaholic or through your work, but by being a better person and trying to impact the world on a larger scale. So I hope you can find your way. And I highly recommend getting the book, The Art of Work. From deep in my soul.